Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's great to see so many people organically finding me because you're looking up a lot of the cool topics that I'm talking about. And this is a real cool one I'm going to talk about today. But I got to be real careful because I don't want people out there to think I'm a super fanboy, but I guess really I am. And that's about Titanic. Now, I fell in love with the Titanic because, of course, of Leonardo DiCaprio. Because of the movie. Everybody loves the movie, right? My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion. By the way, I'm currently wearing some Celine Dion apparel, new. I don't know if you guys have seen the new wardrobing. I'm wearing it, okay? New World, it says right on my shirt, so that's pretty cool. I think we need to get rid of all the boundaries and all the rules that we have in place about what you can wear, etc. Those are things you'll learn about me on this channel as we go forward. But Titanic, I've always been obsessed with Titanic. I know everybody out there has been, right? Every night in my dreams, right? You guys sing that to bed? I do, to myself, in the mirror, actually. And my heart will go on. So let me stop beating around the bush for the first couple minutes here about what I'm going to discuss. Because I get really mad because there's idiots out there, complete idiots, who think, idiots, who think that the story, the movie Titanic story is fake, okay? They think that the story's not real. And that's a problem to me because I've lived my whole life obsessing over the movie. So for them to say that, it's almost like you're telling me my life isn't real. You're telling me that the Titanic didn't sink the way that they tell us it sunk. You're telling me that Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't on that boat, that Jack wasn't on that boat. Of course he was. It's a true story. So I want to call out some of these articles and these stories out there that are really, really hateful because they talk about conspiracies that these crazy people online who have nothing better to do, they bring these topics up to try to discredit Leonardo DiCaprio. They bring these up to try to discredit James Cameron, the director, who's made unbelievable films that have that are just wonderful for humanity. Avatar, Terminator, Can you see where we're headed as a society? Oh, sorry, excuse me. I didn't want to speak out of place there. So I'm going to talk to you about some of these crazy things that people have told me about in regards to the Titanic. And I want to make sure you leave this channel knowing that we're not crazy on this channel. We're going to debunk these crazy people. And that's what I hope my channel can do in the future. Combat what they call disinfo. Okay, so here are 10 wild theories about the sinking of the Titanic. Okay, number 1, a German submarine fired on the Titanic. Although the start of World War I was still 2 years away, some people believe that German U-boat torpedoed the Titanic. During the official inquiry into the sinking, multiple people reported hearing explosions after the collision with the iceberg, leading theorists to suggest that a submarine fired on the ship. A mystery vessel was also supposedly spotted between the Titanic and the Californian. Some believe it to have been the alleged U-boat, while other theories propose that it was the Samson, a Norwegian. Look, I don't even need to read further, okay? James Cameron and Leonardo DiCaprio, that movie's based on a true story. It ran into an iceberg, Jack fell into the water, and he got cold, and he died. And again, if we didn't have this issue with the climate, Jack may have lived, okay? If the ice wasn't melting, oh wait, that's the opposite. Wait, is it warming or cooling? I forget, I don't know, conveniently. Number 2, here's another theory these people are saying that is not true. An Egyptian mummy curse sunk the Titanic. Wow, that's crazy. Now, I believe in mummies. I don't know if you guys do. Not the stuff with ancient Egypt. That stuff's cool. I find that stuff cool. Pyramids are cool. Egyptians are cool. Osiris, these people are awesome, cool. I love the artwork and all that, But the theories about, that stuff is just, it's crazy, okay, to think that there's anything in their books, So anyway, mummies rule. I also have a mummy poster of Brendan Fraser. Was he the mummy in my room that I stare at night and I drool when I'm not singing the theme of Titanic? So this theory is that supposedly this curse was unleashed during King Tut's tomb when it was disturbed in 1922. Wow, that's cool. 10 years earlier, it was alleged that a mummy curse took down the Titanic and around 1,500 of its passengers and crew. The details of the story were inconsistent, but the broad strokes are that in the latter half of the Victorian era, 4 Englishmen were traveling to Egypt when one of them bought the mummy on board and highly decorated coffin lid of the Princess of Aman. Everyone who came into contact with the board apparently suffered death or illness, and eventually the cursed object made its way onto the Titanic. That's crazy. That might be true. Number 3, a fire weakened the Titanic's hull. It's long been known that a fire was burning in one of the bunkers. Is it an underground bunker? Oh, the Titanic bunker, where Titanic's coal was stored. Okay, we're going to move to the next one because, Number 4, the Titanic was speeding in an attempt to set the transatlantic speed record. Oh, okay. The Titanic was traveling at roughly 21.5 knots, close to its top speed when it struck the iceberg. And this fast speed was judged to be a contributing factor to the disaster. Some have speculated that Captain Edward Smith set this pace under the encouragement of J. Bruce Ismay, the chairman of White Star Line, in an attempt to beat the speed record for crossing the Atlantic. I don't know. What do you guys think so far of those 4 theories? Now, here's one that really got under my skin because it bothers me because these crazy nuts. Some of them actually think this is true. Number 5 is that J.P. Morgan orchestrated the sinking of the Titanic. That's insane. That's insane. You mean the guy who has the banks? Why would he do that? He's a nice guy. Banks have money and they give out loans to people like me and you. These are all trusted, wonderful people. You can look at J.P. Morgan. You know that he's a good guy. You know that he doesn't drink any of the red stuff. You know that J.P. Morgan loves humanity. And you know that he loves bagels too. And I do also. So here's the theory. Floating around the internet is a theory that the Titanic was deliberately sunk by financier J.P. Morgan because he wanted to kill Benjamin Guggenheim, okay, Isidor Strass, and John Jacob Astor, who were said to have opposed Morgan's plan to create the U.S. Federal Reserve. According to this theory, once they were out of the way, Morgan was free to establish the centralized banking system the very next year. That sounds stupid to me, okay? Don't these people know that good people started the Federal Reserve? They started it because they care about everybody. They started because they wanted to help make sure everybody had equality. That's what they started for. So why would even these guys like Guggenheim or Astor, why would they be opposed to it anyway? And maybe if this is true, maybe it was a good thing that J.P. Morgan did it because I think we all need the Federal Reserve. Don't you agree? So according to this theory, once they're out of the way, Morgan established the reserve. While it's technically possible, the article says, that Morgan had the chance to tamper with the ship, he owned the International Mercantile Marine Company, which in turn owned White Star Line. There's no evidence, though, of this. See, that's just, what do they call it? That's not real evidence. Circumstantial evidence, okay? Just because J.P. Morgan owned the boat, okay? And then there are people on the boat he hated. And there are people on the boat that wanted to oppose this thing called the Federal Reserve, which, is that even around anymore now, the Federal Reserve? They don't control anything anyway, right? That's no big deal. So there's no way that he would just sink a boat just so he could have that and all that power and money. And people are crazy. They come up with this stuff as crazy. So anyway, even though there's all that stuff floating around, there's no real evidence of this. And his supposed motivation to do so makes no sense, according to the article. Guggenheim and Astor were publicly silent on his idea, while Strauss was actually in favor of it. Other versions of this theory pinned the sinking on the Rothschild family. Who are they? Or the Jesuits? What's a Jesuit? Oh, Jesuits? Oh, okay, algorithm. It says also speculation that is steeped in anything with Semitism, no. I can't even say the word because the algorithm, but no. I agree. This is very anti-Sem, and it's also, whatever a Jesuit is, and I don't know who the Rothschild family is. So to me, as far as I'm concerned, I've heard of the Guggenheim Library. Other than that, this whole theory, let's throw it out the window because there's no real evidence, like this says, of any of that being true, despite the fact that J.P. Morgan very easily could have tampered with the ship. Okay? I did this whole video just so I could get to that part, just so everybody out there can be like, right, because that's the real story. Excuse me. Here's another part of it, too. Number 6, it was Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic, that actually sank. Another inside job theory suggests that the ship sank that freezing April night was actually the Olympic disguised as the Titanic, which is true. The Olympic was built before the Titanic, and in 1911 it collided with a British warship. The theory goes that while the Olympic was having repairs done at the shipyard in Belfast, it was swapped with the Titanic so that it could be deliberately sunk, allowing White Star Line to collect the insurance money. Cha-ching! No, not just because of the insurance money part. Cha-ching, because combine 5 and 6, and then you really have the actual answer. And it wasn't so much about the insurance money, because even then, JP Morgan, these guys printed money, but it was a lot easier to get that ship down than the other one because the other one was new. And why would you sink your own ship that's brand new and running perfectly? You probably want to sink, if it was your ship, one of them that's already broken down and needs a lot of money in repairs, and it's not even worth it because you can get the insurance money and it's worth more than the actual repair would cost. Again, cha-ching, right? So the insurance scam switch doesn't stand up to scrutiny, though. The Titanic cost $7.5 million to build and was only insured for $5 million, meaning White Star Line actually lost money when the ship sank, because this person doesn't know how to make sense of things. Plus, although the two ships look alike, they were sisters, not twins. So there are a few noticeable differences between the ships that disprove this theory. Olympic's A deck was open, for example, while the forward half of Titanic's A deck was enclosed, a feature that can be clearly seen in a recent 3D digital scan of the sunken ship. Further proof comes from the parts of each ship that were stamped with the hull number. Olympic's was 400, while Titanic's was 401. They could never have swapped that. So it says, whichever ship now rests on the seafloor bears the number 401 on its propeller. Right, because they couldn't have painted it. You know? No. Anyway, number 7. The Titanic's propeller spelled no pope backwards. Evidence in the number 401 also disproves the myth that the hull was stamped with 330904, which according to one theory spelled no pope when viewed backwards, and was allegedly viewed as a bad omen by the shipbuilders. Number 8, I guess, the Titanic hit pack ice, not an iceberg. Although it's generally accepted that an iceberg was involved in Titanic's sinking, Captain L.M. Collins disagrees. Okay. Using his knowledge gained from work, trust the science. I trust this guy, Captain Collins. Believe everyone in what they say, except, of course, for anyone who has a theory that's opposite of what is pushed in the mainstream. Duh! All right, so this type of ice was present on the night of the sinking, which Titanic received a warning, blah, blah, blah. Number 9, I'm trying to wrap this up quick here. The Titanic was accidentally steered the wrong way when the iceberg was spotted. Oh, okay. To coincide with the publishing of her Titanic novel, Good as Gold, which came out in 2010, Louise Patton, granddaughter of Second Officer Charles Lightoller, revealed the family secret, which, if true, pins the blame on Titanic sinking on a steering mistake. Wrong. Number 10. I'm not even going to read it, so these other ones. I'm sure that... Anyway, number 10. The Titanic never sank. If you spend any time on TikTok in 2023, you probably came across videos claiming the Titanic didn't sink at all. It becomes kind of deflating to see a lot of this junk coming out. Charles A. Haas, founder of the Titanic International Society, told the New York Times, "I feel like one of the very few voices crying out against the sound of a hurricane. The numerous visits made to the wreck since the discovery in 1985, the artifacts that have been retrieved, and the impressive CD scans recently taken on the deteriorating ship should lay at least the conspiracy to rest." Agreed, because they could never have planted any evidence there, told you that it was there, and then you went down. Because again, remember, folks, this is all about personal attachment to these things. It's the reason most people want to believe everything that they hear is true, because they end up having a personal attachment to the story. Just like I said, with my attachment to the movie Titanic. Now, in reality, I don't think the algo's still listening. I've actually never seen, fun fact, the movie. But I do know that the guy's name is Jack, Leo DiCaprio. And I do know it's about Leo DiCaprio because I remember everybody just shoving it down my throat all the time when I was like in college or whatever age I was then. So I love the movie because I love Leo, like all of you. I'm sure you all melt when Leo comes on screen. You all melt when he's at NATO talking about the climate. So he's a great guy. So that's my emotional attachment. So I refuse to believe any of the theories that were read here. I believe the actual plot of the movie as 100% truth because I'm under mind control and hypnosis. Okay, folks, just remember, the craziest part of all of this was that J.P. Morgan theory. Okay, don't ever fall for something like that because that makes way too much sense. If this was a true crime, most people would say, well, there's your motive. They would say, well, there's his ability to do it. Okay, and then you have the other motive with the insurance money and also the swapping of the ships. So, but that, like this article says, is the craziest one of all. Okay, so I hope you found this interesting. It's something I'll probably talk about in more detail when I can, but I appreciate everybody being here, having a great time with me. These are all things that interest me. I'm trying to get people to understand who I am. So by understanding my love of the movie Titanic and how on my bedroom I still have the Titanic comforter on my bed and the curtains and the algorithm, Now you guys know me better. So I'm wearing my new stuff now because Celine Dion. See how that ties in with the My Heart Will Go On? And I'm probably going to go get more. It says New World on my shirt, New Order, something like that. So anyway, folks, we hit the limit here, but thanks for being here. You guys are wonderful. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. Bye.